These digesters are digesters that we call the hybrid type of biodigesters, and the background is simply because you are doing a biodigester for a client at a location, and then after the assessment and everything has been done, you come to the realization that you are going to use prefabricated slabs, and then the prefabricated slab that you are going to use is only 2 feet. That's the length. The only option left for you is to have a block work done at the base of the digester before erecting or placing the slabs on it, which will give you a level that you need enough to get the gradient and then the final outlook of the house to match with it. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to go about that. The key part for you here is to make sure that the block work meets the standard for which the digester is going to be laid. You are looking at the fact that the 2 feet and then the type of block that you are going to use. Is it 5 inches? Is it the 6 inches? And what is the thickness? So in our case, we came to the realization that the 2 feet is not enough, considering the fact that the gradient of which the slope is coming from the back will come and then it will meet the biodigester inlet at the base, which will not give us enough room for our leach pipe to be connected to the soak pit or the soak away. So what it means is that we are going to connect the biodigester to the soak away that we are going to lay blocks for, and then the wastewater, that's the filtered water, is going to go to that place. The key part for you here is to lay the blocks first. After the digging, after getting your level of feet, we place the block flat on their back, and then we use the mortar to firm them up. The understanding is that you don't have to do the groundworks first. Get the level right, and then the type of soil that we met here is also clear. The type of soil we met here is not really clear, but for us, we know we are going to connect it to a soak away, so it's not going to be a problem. So this is us putting the slabs on the blocks. We are only looking for the elevation because of the gradient, because of the inlet pipe that's coming out. You also don't want the digester to show too much, because then probably when the groundwork is done, it might not match it. So in our case, after agreeing with the technical team, we said that okay, this level is okay. One course block is okay, and then we'll put the slabs, the prefabricated slabs, the long side. These are 6 feet slabs, and they are commercial. I mean, they are really, really large biodigesters, and they can be used for commercial purposes. But these are, we were doing them for the apartment. I think it was 2 bedroom apartment on each side, and then we are only doing one biodigester for the whole property. So we kind of put the slabs on them, and then we lay the blocks on their back to make sure that the level and the measurement fits right. It's key for you. You need to know the size of the slabs that you are using in this situation, and then you need to adjust the spaces to make sure that you meet it at the right level. Measurement is key. That's why when you come to buy digesters, we always talk about measurement. Measurement is key for you. You need to know measurement. You need to be technically inclined. Whether you know the measurement in feet or you know it in meters, it doesn't really matter. The conversion is available. You can use your phone to do the conversion, and then you are good to go. So what the constructor is doing is he realized that the space is not enough, so he need to level it up and get enough space to lay the blocks. Make sure the blocks are laid correctly. The traditional way, the way you lay any block for foundation or for any kind of coursework, is exactly how these blocks will have to be laid. And when it comes to the construction of these biodegradable digesters, you shouldn't wait till you get to the site before you make some of these decisions. That's why inspection sometimes is key for you. You should be on the ground to see what you are working with, and then you have to kind of get the understanding of where the pipe is coming from, and then where you are getting your slope from is key for you. Do you have all the pipes from one side, or are some of the pipes coming from another side of the building? And which one is the lowest point, or which one is the highest point? You might need to do it based on the lowest point, and then make sure that you are getting a room in the digester for the digester bed preparation, the step-by-step understanding of the digester bed, including the porous slab, or laying the materials that will give you that room that you might need for your construction. Also, leaving enough room for the wastewater to seep out slowly, or either rapidly or slowly, depending on the type that you are constructing, into the soak pit or the soak away. That's very key for you in this situation. So this biodigester, we are putting them on the 6 inches blocks. I mean, they are going down for the digester to be the prefabricated slabs to be erected on them. So we are putting the blocks flat so that it can be firm, and then it will not move, it will not shake. If the final groundworks are done with grinding and all these activities that happen when homeowners are finally doing the groundworks for their building or the the compound. Some people usually will want to do concrete work. Others prefer to do the tiling. Better so you can tell some people prefer to tile some part of the compound and then have some vegetation and flowers and some other parts. So depending on what the homeowner is going to do, you should make sure you have done your work to the best satisfaction of the system that you are building, so that whatever they choose to do, it does not affect your work. What I've also come to realize is that most homeowners do not like the digesters protruding. They don't want them to show too much. They prefer it to flash, if not to flash, grow at least an inch or 2 or 3 inches will show when the final outlook of the house is done. So you have to take all these ones into consideration. So here we are erecting, or we are erecting the slabs. We are putting them on the blocks as required, and then we are going to hold them firmly with the binding wires and all the binding materials that will be needed in this situation. We are also moving them closer to the earth, I mean where we are doing the digging, so that the middle is what we will use as the supporting blocks for the biodigester bed. It means we are not going to put any stones in them again. Even if you are going to put some stones, it will only be in the middle, just to give it some firmness, and the obvious load that will be coming in later months and later years will be able to be supported by the digester bed. This is Dream House Biodigesters. We are a channel that shows you how to construct biodigester and construct them correctly. So go ahead and like this video if you have seen value so far from what we are doing. Go ahead and like the video. You can also leave a comment below and we'll make sure we will reply to all your comments. So they are being held firmly together by the binding wires. And when you do cast the prefabricated slabs or the slabs, make sure you have the binding wires there, because that's what will hold it firmly together in place before you can use the mortar to hold the joints, and then they can come in place firmly. He is checking, the technical guy, the constructor is checking to make sure that all the angles are right, and that you do this one because you don't want the top slab to come and then some parts will be falling in later, or some of the slabs will come off easily after any activity in the compound. So you make sure you check your measurements, you use your angle bars, and then you check all the corners to make sure they are firmly tight. You want your digester to be airtight as well. You don't want any spaces there for any water to seep into it, and then for any outside material to also go into the biodigester. He's using the cutter to trim the binding wires and make sure that he kind of screw them tightly together, leaving no holes or no space in between the slabs. This type of biodigesters are basically for human waste treatment. We have spoken about how they work in such a way that there is a rapid separation of the human waste from the wastewater, which is a sharp different to the traditional ways of human waste management that we have come to know in our part of the world. So this separation is basically to allow you to use the materials that you are going to put in this digester to work well in terms of biodegrading the human waste for easy disposal at a later date. So he's using the mortar to hold the digester slabs tight and to make sure that they do not move around. When you are at this stage, you need to be very careful. You need to make sure your digester is held firmly together and the mortar has to be in the right mixture that will hold the digester to the blocks. We usually call them the hybrid type of biodigesters. So this is the outlet that we are doing, the outlet for the wastewater. It will be leading to the so-called pit, and then the shape pipe was going to be there. This is the inlet. He's doing the inlet, getting it open, and he's going to take out the wire mesh out. Make sure you do it gently if you are using the slabs. If you are using blocks, obviously, then there's also the same mindset. You have to use a chisel to get that space done, and then your inlet pipe is going to go to this particular hole. The level that we are getting is because the pipes are coming from the back, and there's some coming from the right side of the digester as well. There's most of them are coming from the other side, and then the building or the compound is slope. The slope is towards the last end. So the reason we are setting the digester at the lower end is because then it's easy for the plumber to lay all his pipes to this side of the compound or of the property. It makes it easier for gradient work. It makes it easier for sloping, and then it makes it easier for letting the wastewater out of the digester bed through the leachate pipe and then the soak away. The biodigester works in such a way that you have to get the sloping done when you are doing the screeding on the ground. The screeding must be done at a level. We talk about rapid separation or rapidly letting the water out, but we also don't want it too rapid. We don't want a sharp slope. We prefer a level gradient that will slowly sip the water out, because the mindset or the experience also says that toilet water is the only water that's coming, or the water from the water closet is the only water that is coming into the biodigester. We are not adding kitchen wastewater, we are not adding the bathroom, we are not adding the sink for the brushing of teeth or washing your face or washing of hand. So we can manage the water based on the number of toilet seats or the capacity of the users of the facility. So those are some of the few questions that we ask whenever we are going to construct a biodigester. We want to know the number of rooms, the number of toilet seats. We'd like to know the type of building. Is it a semi-detached? Is it a duplex? Is it an apartment? Is it a complex? What type of facility is it? Then we kind of base or construct the digesters for that particular users, average users that we envisage will be using the facility. So the screening is being done at the same time as the porous slabs are being laid on the ground. We are using the porous slabs in this case because we want extra enhancement. We want the filtrated water to look more cleaner, and then we want the water to be, I mean, it should be good. It should be good for dropping them into the soak hole pit or soak away, because then sometimes you do get some clients who want to use this wastewater for other purposes like gardening or watering some of their plants that they are going to have in the compound. So you have to make sure the filtration is done right. Sometimes you include charcoal in it, depending on what kind of water that is going to be used, and then you do it. So basically, what you're doing right here now is to porous slab was is bigger. It's bigger than the size. Sometimes the measurement doesn't work. When you are casting them, they do spread out and they become bigger. So he's cutting them to size to fit the size of the digester before laying them in the digester bed nicely. Make sure you don't break them, because if they do break, then it's going to have an effect on the digester bed when the load starts coming on it. How to construct the biodigester is what we are doing. We are watching. This one is about the hybrid type of biodigester where we put the slabs on blocks that we have put on the ground, and then we put the biodigester bed in them. So the biodigester filtration bed is what is being laid. It's all being put together nicely, and then the soak away or the pipe, the shape pipe, will show up there, and then it will be part of the whole construction that we are doing. We in this particular construction, what we did was to do the biodigester first, and then leave the outlet there. At a later date, we're going to come and do the soak away for the digester. We are going to construct a traditional soak away. We are going to use blocks to have it done, and then I've done some videos that shows you why we prefer homeowners spend extra money to do the traditional soak away. It gives you an added advantage in terms of the long use of your biodigester. It enhances the quality of work. It gives you guarantee. It gives us also guarantee, knowing that if there's any issue that we have to deal with, we know exactly where to go. Unlike the so-called pits that when you do them, it's difficult to go back to them and open them and have any assessment done, whether it's working or it's not working. For the soak away, you are going to have a top slab on it, a clean out, an access chamber on it. All these things give you enough access to it for you to open it and see if the wastewater is coming from the digester into it. If you are having problems with your biodigester and you have an access to the soak away, and you open the soak away and you see that there's no water in it, you know where your problem is. You know where to solve that problem. Then most of the problem will have been solved by then. Because if there's soak away and there's no water in it, it means that the digester bed has been blocked, and then the leachate pipe, either there's some materials in the leachate pipe and it's not coming through for the water to come. So naturally, the digester bed will be filled up with water. So the first key point for us right now when we do construct biodigesters, and then we do get a soak away for them, in case you do call us, there's a problem or there's an issue in the callers. The first point is we go straight to the soak away, open it up, and see if there's any water there. In another scenario, if you open the soak away and you realize that there's water there, and the water is what is returning back into the biodigester, then the advice is simple to what? Have that water sipped out or pumped out. If the water from the soak away is pumped out or is sipped out, any water in the digester will naturally go back into the soak away. Then the digester will work well. So the fiber, after the fiber net and then other things were put on the digester bed, this is the fiber, coconut fiber that you are seeing. This is what going to help with the biodegradation, to going to make sure that the human waste is biodegraded by the use of microorganisms and enzymes that will be generated by this system. Your biodigester is almost done. You are making sure you are putting enough fiber, coconut fiber on it. Make sure all the angles, all the sides do have some. The inlet pipe is also being fixed. The inlet pipe is solely, most of the time, done for the plumber to bring the pipes from the house to come and then have it connected to the biodigester pipe. Make sure the slope is right, which is key. We don't want any human waste to get stuck in in the inlet pipe, it will return back, and then scent and smell will just go back and affect the homeowner if the plumbing work is not done right. Now we have the top covers going on it. The top covers will have to be matched to the slabs, and then depending on the number that you have or the sizes, it can be three, it can be two. You fit them nicely on them, and then you are going to have to seal them airtight. You don't need any vent pipe on a biodigester. I've done videos severally explaining why people do not need vent pipes on the biodigesters. If there's an issue of scent, there must be a vent pipe on the building itself. If you are constructing or you are building your house, ensure the plumber has got a vent pipe on the building. The vent pipes are ideally or usually made for the toilet seats so that any toilets that get stuck in it, it takes the scent away all the way out. If a biodigester is constructed well, there is not going to be any scent coming out from the biodigester. So the top slabs have been put on it. We are also leaving room for an inspection chamber by putting a clean out on it so that the homeowner can have access to it. He can open it and see if he's in doubt whether the digester is working or is not working. So I also advise some of my clients that if you are using your property and then you say you are having scent in the house, the question I ask is, do you have a clean out on the digester? Go and open it. If you open it and you hear any scent from there, I'll come and do the correction for you. But if you open it and you're not hearing any scent from the biodigester, then the scent that you're hearing from the room or the smell is not from the biodigester. It is from the building or the pipes that were not done right. So this is the digging for the soakaway, the traditional soakaway itself being done. And we are going to lay the blocks for that one as well. The understanding here is that if the digester bed or the biodigester is 3 feet or is 2.5 meters, your soakaway must be at least, it must be 5 feet. Your soakaway must be 5 feet or 2 meters. The soakaway must be so that the gradient or the lache pipe as is been connected here goes into it, and there's enough room for the water to come. We are leaving spaces inside the soakaway for the wastewater to what seep out into the earth surface. Any excess one can be retained in it, and if the ground is even a waterlogged area or is waterlogged ground, then you can put a pump on it and have the water pumped out during the rainy season. During the dry season, the water will always seep out because it's only toilet water you are managing at this point in time. There's no kitchen water. So this is the biodigester plus the soakaway, traditional soakaway that have been done for this particular property. So we got to develop this type of biodigester construction after doing a few of them and then realizing that you have to raise the biodigester from the bed, and then you don't want it to disappear completely because when the groundworks are done, it's possible that the digester will be lost. And you don't want your digester to get lost. You want your digester to be seen in a house when you show up in a compound for maintenance or to go and do any correction. You want to see your digester showing at a place. If not the complete digester, at least some parts, the top slab or something should be showing just to let you know that my digester is here.